Have you ever been told that you're too nice? It sounds like a compliment on the surface, but what if it's actually a warning? Today, we're diving deep into the hidden trap of being too good.
Stop being nice. I know. That probably sounds like the absolute worst advice you've ever heard, right? I mean, our whole lives we're taught that being kind and agreeable is the way to be. But what if that's not the whole story? What if it's actually holding you back?
So that's what we're going to do. We are going to completely challenge that core belief. We're going to see how being unconditionally good, well, it isn't always a sign of moral strength. In fact, sometimes it's an open invitation for other people to take advantage of you. The source material we're looking at today uses this absolutely brilliant metaphor for this whole thing. When your kindness has no limits, you basically risk becoming free catering. Just think about that. A resource that others feel totally entitled to just consume without a second thought. It's a pretty harsh image, but wow, it really makes you think, doesn't it? Okay, so how does this actually play out in real life? Let's start with this paradox of always being agreeable and get into why your yes can, believe it or not, become totally worthless. So, this is absolutely crucial. There is a world of difference between choosing to be gentle and simply being unable to be anything else. See, if you don't have the capacity to push back, if you have no teeth, so to speak, then your gentleness isn't really a virtue you've chosen. It's just your default setting. And it comes from a place of weakness. This really gets at a piece of ancient wisdom. Be as harmless as a dove, but as wise as a snake. It's all about balance. See, true virtue isn't just about being soft. It's about having the capacity to be formidable, but making the conscious choice to be gentle instead. And this slide just breaks it down perfectly. I mean, think about it. If you're physically incapable of saying no, then what value does your yes really have? It's just automatic. A true valuable yes is a conscious choice, and it's made by someone who could have just as easily said no. Now that is what people respect. And this is not some abstract theory, right? We see this dynamic everywhere. You've got the person at work who takes on every single extra task without a peep, or the family member who always sacrifices their own needs for everybody else. And these are so often the exact same people who end up feeling completely unappreciated and, frankly, resentful. So we've seen how being too nice can just tank the value of your yes. But what about the people who take advantage of that? Now, this next part has a bit of a surprising twist. We tend to think that exploiters just target the weak. But the source material here suggests they're actually looking for something else entirely. So let me ask you this. Who do the predators in our lives, whether that's at the office or sometimes even in our own family, who do they really go after? Is it just the weakest person in the room? And here's the big reveal. The primary target isn't just someone who's weak. No, it's the person who is too loyal. They are actively looking for people whose loyalty is misplaced, people who will just stick around and keep giving and giving, even when they're being totally disrespected and used. This is such a powerful way to reframe it. That loyalty you think you're giving to someone else, if it's not being met with respect, it stops being a virtue. It actually becomes an act of self-betrayal. You are literally abandoning your own needs and your own self-worth. Okay, so we've laid out the trap of being too good. So how do we get out of it? This final section is all about shifting your perspective, moving from being a passive victim of what's happening to you to becoming an active advocate for yourself. And here's the bottom line. Endlessly sacrificing yourself is not going to earn your respect. It just teaches people that you're willing to be sacrificed. What people actually respect are boundaries, clear lines that show them and you that you value yourself, and those lines cannot be crossed without a real consequence. Just take a second and really honestly think about this. Have you ever poured your heart and soul into helping someone only to feel like your kindness was just taken for granted, almost like it was a free service they were just entitled to? And if that resonates with you at all, then maybe it's time to close the kitchen. Maybe it's time to decide that you are no longer going to be free catering for people who don't appreciate the meal. Look, this isn't just information for you to think about, it's a decision you have to make. And so the final question is a really personal one for you to take away from all this. When you look at your life, your relationships, your work, is it finally time to say enough?